Hi, it's Clark on Temptress. Today I'm going to look into this LiTime starter battery again. I did a review on it a while ago, and you might remember I really didn't think too highly of the BMS. Since that video I've decided I really hate the BMS in this thing. I can't live with it. So it's a great battery technically in every other way. It's just software in the BMS and I cannot live together. So I'm gonna swap it out. So in this video, I'm gonna show you if you have this battery and you realize that you've made a mistake and you'd like to fix it, or honestly, if you've got any kind of battery and you'd like to upgrade the BMS, today we're gonna upgrade the BMS. Okay, let's start out with the claims. This battery had a bunch of claims about things, it did and didn't do. It's got low temperature protection, and I tested that out, and it works great. It has a little heating blanket inside it, and that's really good because if you get in a cold place, not only will it protect your battery from destroying itself if you try to charge it cold, it'll actually take that energy and first heat the battery so you can charge it. That worked great. I love that. It has 140 amp hours in a relatively small box. Wow, I love that. I hate it when they're all full of foam, We should go by volume and get as much as we can in the space available. Loved it. It can put out lots and lots of power. I quite liked that. I started an outboard with it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it has a BMS, and the BMS, as a last-ditch effort, if you're going to charge it to such a high voltage that it's going to actually vent the cells, it has to be able to shut down accepting charge. All lithium iron phosphate batteries are this way. And because of that, it can stop accepting a charge. And from the engine's point of view, if it's trying to charge this battery, you've just disconnected the battery. I've now come to the conclusion this should not start most anything. Definitely nothing with an alternator on it, like an internal inboard engine, with a regular car style alternator, because a battery disconnecting itself like that will destroy the alternator's diodes. Other videos on that on my channel. But an outboard, at first I was thinking, outboards are kind of engineered to live in a world where the battery is sort of a temporary thing, and I bet they would survive if you disconnected, much like a motorcycle. If you disconnect the battery, they tend to do okay. They use a different kind of regulator. Well, I've since defined that is not true. Thanks to the commenters. Yamaha in particular, if it finds that the battery is no longer taking a charge, in other words, from its point of view, you just disconnected the battery, it will shut itself down. And I don't mean limp mode, I mean off. And that can be very, very bad, especially on an outboard driven boat, because you have zero control all of a sudden. You could be going really fast expecting to do that turn, and now outboard motors don't make very good rudders. You run right into that rock. You could be maneuvering through a channel on your way out, which is a likely time this would happen, and suddenly now you're at the mercy of the wind and the current. So absolutely do not use this battery with a Yamaha engine, and decide if you want to otherwise. I'm back to thinking the only way to start an engine is lead, period. If you want lead and lithium to live together very, very well, I've got this BankManager. Go to the description, you'll find a link. I guess the best source for that is marinedcac.com. I can't recommend this battery anymore. Well, the reason I can't recommend it, of course, is the BMS. The rest of the battery is stellar. I'm happy with it, but we got to get rid of this BMS. So, this is a JK BMS. I've looked around the lot. I've tried. I bought a whole bunch of BMSs. This one is still hands down the best one. Does everything you could possibly ask for. It was reasonably priced. I did another couple videos where I replaced the battery's BMS after I destroyed the BMS myself. with a JK. Very happy with it. So those two videos are available. It just does everything you'd want it to do, and it was 80 bucks. At 80 bucks, it was like, yeah, that's a great thing. Now I had to buy this one for 130 bucks. The prices are coming up. I guess part of that's inflation, and part of it is I think people are buying these because they're just good, and guys like me are saying they're good. So anyway, good on them if they can get a little more money from them. It's a little sad that the cheap version of them is no longer available. But anyway, I'm going to put this into this and turn this into a damn good battery. The one thing the battery is going to lose is its ability to put out lots and lots of power and start an engine. Because this BMS that I chose is just not up to it. I think they have others, and maybe they have one that can put out enough to start your engine, but you still don't want to do that because any BMS has to shut down if you try to overcharge, and an outboard's going to try to overcharge your lithium iron phosphate from its point of view. So let's get at it. I find I've been putting this video off for a long time. I just don't seem to want to do this, but it's time. It's time to do it. Okay, I've got it open because I never really closed it up again. This battery was really hard to get open. It's got the normal glue, but it has these little clippy things. And if I knew about it, I could have put a screwdriver right where the clippy things are, and I think that would release them, so it would have been easier to get the top off. And you can see on the case, one's right over the word dual, right after the word time, and equal on the other side. And then on the ends, there's a couple, well, best way to show you, I've really destroyed a lot of this edge getting it off, but it looks like it's here and here, so about an inch in on both sides. So all four sides have two clips on them each if you want to try to get it open. It's open, it's exposed, and I'm wearing metal. Never, never, never do this. These batteries can put out more power than my welder. So you don't want to be exposed to that power going through a conductor near you. You're going to get burned badly. So make yourself safe. No wedding rings, no watches, nothing. Again, as I've said in the past, if you're going to actually go into one of these batteries, be a little bit afraid. If you're not afraid, ask yourself why, because this is dangerous. If you've used tools here and you drop a tool between the positive and the negative poles, things are going to get really, really exciting in the worst possible way. So ultra cautious on tools, ultra cautious on any metal. Now, human hands, don't worry about it. 12 volts will not pass through human skin in any appreciable way, so that's safe. Well, let's go at it. What we're going to do here is swap these out, and first I kind of trial fit it. It looks to me my only choice is to put the new BMS basically here if I want to use the existing wires, which I do. So that means I'm going to have to run these wires to where they need to be. I'm going to go through the wires real quick. This is the bunch of wires that go to the individual cells. There's a lot of them. You won't need them all. The first one goes to the most negative, basically right to here, but the most negative cell. And then it goes to the split between the first cell and the second cell and the third cell and the fourth cell. And then this one goes to the positive, most positive one on the fourth cell. You get to skip a few because it's not a 24-volt battery. But a peculiarity of the JK is the very last one also has to go to the most positive cell. I believe that's how it powers itself. Then we've got this. This is for communication, these two wires, but this is going to become a ground for the heating blanket. That's going to be very good because we get to preserve the heating blanket function. So that power coming into this when the battery is frozen can warm it up. We've got this plug, and this particular one came with a switch. I'll probably drill a hole if I want to put the switch in. It lets you turn off the BMS, which would be good if you're going to put it in storage for a long time because the BMS is trickling a little power out all the time. It lets you wake it up. And that's good because when you initially install a JK, you either have to push the button to wake it up or you have to like expose it to fairly high voltage to get it to wake up. And then finally, there's this set of plugs and they come down to temperature probes. So we'll shove them in as close to the cells as possible. There's no need to have a probe near the MOSFETs, the BMS itself. Probes are on the board for that. You can see that this requires regular lugs. This one is solder on. So I'm going to cut off the wires, and I bought myself some appropriately sized lugs. We will crimp these on. We're not going to solder on the lugs. I know they're nice copper, and it looks like I could solder it on. But the problem with soldering a lug on is you would think it's the best. You know, it's solder, and it's going to be electrically perfect. If things go bad with an electrical connection, they get hot. And if they get hot and you have solder as the only physical thing holding them together, the solder could melt, this could come loose, and then that wire, which is kind of like a spring, might get itself in terrible mischief and start a fire. So you always use a crimp connector with lugs. Now, if you want belt and suspenders, you can put solder in the hole later on. It'll keep corrosion down. It'll make a perfect electrical connection. But crimp is vital. Well, let's go at it. Well, it's official. I'm doing this. I think I'll put the terminals on first. You know, I've tried every crimper in the world, and I haven't used this one yet. It's brand new. But I borrowed somebody's once. This is like the simplest possible crimper. For big lugs, you need the hammer style or a hydraulic. But for this size and down into the, regular 12 gauge or whatever, I think this actually works the best. So let's see how it works today with these. They're kind of in the middle size-wise. Ran this battery before, did all the thermal testing and everything, and this is good copper wire. It did not get hot. Or I have much larger wire that I had run to an inverter that I bought on Amazon, and it said pure copper, but it got hot. So I do believe that I got some aluminum wire. Okay, let's see how my fancy new crimper works. Oh yeah. Couldn't ask for better than that. That's just what I want. Okay. Definitely my new favorite tool. It's no big deal, just if they look a little like this. I bought this whole set with every little cutter you can imagine. Weren't super cheap, but I just really wanted a couple of the parts. I'll put a link to it in the description just for your ease, but if you want one of these, get whatever's cheap. I mean, and good. Yeah, you don't even have to, this is like easier to use than the ratcheting one I have on the boat. And I'm doing really big lugs here. I hit that one twice just to see what it'd be like. It didn't really do much second time. Getting better at it. Two-handed works very easily. I'm not going to put the shrinks on this. No real sense. It's all going to be bottled up inside of the battery case. No harm can happen to it in there. Okay, that's the terminal side, the pole side. I'll jump ahead, but I gotta just have to do the same thing on this side. Okay, this wire, I'm gonna get out of the way right now. This is, on this BMS, important for controlling the little heating blanket, but on this one, it's not important. And already, the heating blankets are connected directly to the positive poles, which is what this one requires. So this is just gonna go away. And I want it gone early because it's a positive wire and it's just prone to shorting. So I want to keep good control of it. And remember, I'm cutting a positive wire now, and almost everything in this case is negative. So don't let your tool touch two things. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to take the negatives off for the heating blanket. They're just dead open. Actually, they're positive, come to think of it, because they go through the high resistance of the heating blanket. So I'll have to kind of watch where I put them. There we go. So all that's left is the thermal pickups, which I'll just pull out. And then all of these wires that go to the individual cells, and I'm going to salvage those. I'll be nipping them one at a time and then connecting them to these wires so I don't have to go in right to the cells, because the cells are glued into the case really, really well, and the heating blanket's all where I want it. There's just no need to go any deeper than that. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I think I'll unplug it so that I'll know the order. Where if I cut them now, I won't know, which one without a voltmeter is which one. Okay, that's how I release it. There we go. And taking that off, shut off the BMS. There was a blinking light. Okay, almost done. Finally, the physical install. And they did that with zip ties to these kind of straps holding everything together. I'll probably do the same. There's some double-sided tape. What's this? Two more wires. I don't know what this is. This is that BMS that I don't like. The app was bad. I know what they're trying to do in what they do. They're trying to do what a BankManager does. They're trying to stop it from charging before it does damage to the battery. Except they're doing that in the most awkward way possible. There's so much involved in doing that right, and they are not doing it right. And particularly in the world where they're expecting it to work with an outboard motor, as a charging source, and this thing can turn off. It's just a really bad idea. That would be bad enough. And SOK did that. And once I figured out their scheme and figured out how to work around it, it wasn't so bad. You can look at the SOK review for that. And I live with the SOK. The SOK is going into my camper. Every time I say something's going into my camper, that means something that I said it about before goes out because I only have so much room. But I think this battery, once I fix it, and the SOK, and that's going to give me loads and loads and loads of power in that camper, will be my two favorite. What I can't tolerate about this one is they don't show you the cell voltage, which is the only reason you want a Bluetooth connection. And then over the Bluetooth connection, they tell you the battery voltage and out lie to you, giving you a number that would be correct if they had done the job right. I just can't tolerate a company that would lie to me. So don't buy an LiTime. Well, I mean, if you just want it for the rest of the battery to change out the BMS, just buy the cells. Cheaper. All right. That's garbage. Here's the good guy. Well, let's put it in. Okay. Okay, that's the hard part. When you put on these big lugs, you gotta make them really tight. I'll probably put an actual hex wrench on them and snug them down before I finish the project. Let's see, will it all fit? Yeah, looks like it's all gonna go back in the case just. Okay. Now to hook up the other wire, the little wires. For that, we're going to solder. Pretty simple. We just go down the line. Start with this black wire, and it goes to the black wire. Want to keep the wires as short as possible. The old BMS had a passive balancer, and it only passed 100 milliamps through these wires when it was balancing. This one has an active balancer. It comes in 1 amp and 2 amp. That's a lot of power for such a small wire. So I chose the 1 amp because you don't want to burn out the wires while it's balancing. It's unlikely you'll really see the whole amp. But that's how she stands. Let's go at it. Okay, for this, I'll use my soldering iron. Okay, she's heating up. Let's go at it. So first, I'm going to nip off right here at the plug number 1 only. Work that around. So I can keep it pretty short, and it's going to hook to number 1 here. I'll probably go under this. I'm short, but not too short. Isn't that always the worry? And I'll get myself some heat shrink tubing. On down the line. Next one here is the white one. That's all that. And then all I've got left is this group of wires. I'm gonna have to extend it for the heating blankets. So, gotta find a bit of wire for that. I finished the wiring up. I hooked up the grounding wire for the heating blanket to where it needs to be, and that went well. These extra red wires that I had found when I took the old BMS off, they don't seem to be associated with the heating blanket. I'm not too sure where they go to, but I'm going to deem that they're unnecessary, and I'm just capping them over and tucking them away. That leaves us with powering it up. It's all wired up, it's ready to go. I do need to wire it, tie it down into place, close the case, put some strapping tape around it, and have a portable system again. But, and eventually I'll drill a little hole in the case and mount this switch. But let's see what happens when I push the switch. Push, oh, lit up. Oh, the BMS is beeping at me. And I believe if I push and hold it, yep, the BMS goes off again. So that's really good. I could turn off the BMS if I want to put this battery in storage, so it's not like trickling power into the BMS and going down faster. Let's bring it up. Got my cell phone here. I downloaded the app from the Play Store from my Android. There is one of those little insignias here. You can take a picture with your phone and go right to it. Anyway, there is one battery to choose from. I'm selecting it. Connection, because I hear it chirping at me. It's telling me the voltage. There's no current flowing. I can see all the cells and their voltages, so that's good. Looks like it's all functioning from this side. The temperatures seem right. Oh, I do have to tuck the temperature probes in amongst the battery area, but I'll take care of that before I tie up the case. Now, there's a lot you can set in this BMS software-wise. A lot. So, If you want a video where I go through and set up this battery, tell me in the comments. I'll make another shortish video where I go through everything. But that might not be necessary because I've used this BMS before in a different battery, and I'll put a link right up there to how I set that battery up. And they're both 12-volt batteries. They're going to basically be the same. So that's it for this. I have now, in my opinion, turned this very good set of cells and heating blanket into a battery that I would be proud to own and wouldn't hate every day of its life. So, bye from Clark on Temptress.